I don't wanna.
Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. I want to tell you this story about when I found myself facing a write-up, you know what I'm saying, from the fam when I came to the defense of a peon, right? I didn't understand the fullness of the story or how they were going to think about it. I just thought that I saw something that shouldn't be allowed. Shouldn't be allowed. I've always been one of those individuals in here that I don't like bullies, even though I can't deny that there have been those situations where I was the bully. I don't like individuals that because they got the muscle, they take advantage of people, even though I have to be honest and admit that I have used my power when I was in rotation. And when I say in rotation, I mean I was actively participating in gang activity. I had used my power to push on people, take advantage of people. You feel what I'm saying? But I always rationalized in my mind I was doing it for the greater good, you know, keeping the economy moving, the prison economy moving, right? Now, but here's the thing. Let me tell you this story. There was this dude that came into the system. I didn't really know anything about him. I'd heard stories about him, but I didn't really know anything about him. And, you know, he was an officer, a former officer, police officer. I didn't know. I heard stuff, but I never sat down and talked to dude. I looked at it like, okay, if he is this, then based on all the things you hear on TV and what you see in the movies and all this and that, a police officer coming into the prison system is going to get it. But even if it was true, I didn't really care. As long as it didn't interfere with me being able to do the things that I was doing in prison, making money and all this and that, I didn't care. Because at the end of the day, this is a different environment than out there. And a lot of people, they want you to believe that a lot of things go on in here that to the degree that they say it is, they really don't. Now, at some places, yeah. But I'm going to tell you something. This individual found a situation that fit him to where he was safe. This officer liked to smoke. He liked to smoke. And by him smoking, he contributed to the economy, meaning he bought product, okay? That's what it is. He bought product. And as long as he was buying product, people, it was like, leave him alone. Yeah, and there was some people in that institution that claimed that he had arrested them and all this and that, but I didn't believe it. Let me tell you why I didn't believe it. Because if that were true, the institution would have taken action on their own. You understand what I'm saying? They are not going to put, in my opinion, unless he signs some kind of waiver saying he don't want protection, and even still they don't want to do stuff like that, that they wouldn't put him in a position where his life could get taken if they had foreknowledge of a situation that could lead to that. So I'm certain when he first came in, they probably asked him everything about, you know what I'm saying, is it anybody that you know of that might be at this institution that you might have arrested, you did this and that and that and this. And I'm sure they went over all of that before he even came into the system. They didn't rely on him telling them because he might not remember, he might not know who's at that institution. So they probably went over all of that for him before they placed him at this particular institution that he was at. So one day, this dude had gotten involved with some aliens, right? Buying some stuff, taking care of his business, you know what I'm saying, and going on by the day because he had gotten a reputation of, look here, he gets up, he goes to work, he works out, he goes back to the unit, and he chills. He talks on the phone to his family, he goes to visit. He chills, he's keeping a very, very, very low profile. So one day, look here, it's not my concern what a lot of people are doing, but one day, I happen to be walking in the pod, and I see stuff, you know what I'm saying, and I don't see stuff. That's one of the things in the penitentiary, you see and you don't see. But I seen some things going on that kind of caught my attention. I'm factoring real fast. How does this affect us? How does this affect what we got going on? And I surmised real quick. It don't. It really don't. So I kept it moving. So I see him come out of the cell, and I see him going to his cell. Now, let me explain something to you. Now, I could see that he was upset, but again, it's not my business. I could see that he was upset, but it's not my business. So at the end of the day, he goes to the cell, and something kept telling me to stop by that cell. Something kept telling me to stop by that cell. So I happened to stop and I looked in the window, being nosy. I'm trying to, look here, and that's one thing you don't do in here, just being nosy. But I was being nosy. See, because in the position that I was in, I could be nosy. And couldn't nobody do nothing about it. Or so I thought. So when I looked in, I seen him. He didn't see me, but I seen him. And he had taken his shirt off. And I seen blood coming out of his stomach. I tapped on the window real lightly because now this is a different situation. Police can come up in here, lock the unit down. I got things going on. You feel what I'm saying? I don't want to be locked down for the weekend. Right? See, that's what I told myself. That's why I was doing it. That's what I told myself. I'm doing this because this is going to affect us and what we got going on. The truth is, and I can admit that today, because I'm free. I'm free mentally and spiritually and working on the physical. Okay? But the truth was that this man had been stuck, and I wanted to make sure that he was okay. I didn't think about his past profession and career, whatever he did. I didn't think about that. I saw somebody that had been stabbed, and I used the rationale that, man, this is going to bring heat to the pod as my excuse for going in there to help him. So when I knocked on the door, he looked up. I said, open the door. So he opened the door. I said, man, you straight? He's like, nah, man. Nah, they stuck me. I said, man, who stuck you? Then he told me, them dudes at the cell he just come out of it. I popped him one time. You know what I'm saying? He said, they trying to say he owed them money. I said, do you owe them money? He was like, nah, I paid them, man, but they trying to double up on me. So let me look at it. And I looked at it, and he took his finger off the hole. I'm talking about blood was coming up out of this thing. They done popped him real nice. And I'm like, hey, man. I said, you're going to have to go to the clinic. Ain't no way to stop this, man. He said, man, I can't go to the clinic. They told me not to go to the clinic, man. I said, man, they ain't talking about nothing, man. You better go to that clinic, man. Because if you don't go to the clinic, you might bleed out. I said, you might be bleeding on the inside, man. So he looked at me. He knew I was telling the truth, but he was so scared. I said, look, man, I got them. Go on and go to the clinic, man. For real, man. Go on and go. So he took a Band-Aid, one of them big patches. He happened to have one. I don't know where he got it. And he put it on there. And I'm talking about by the time he put that on and then put his shirt over, it was full of blood again. So I said, man, go on up there, man. Just keep pressure on that thing, man. Go on up there. I'm going to get the police to open the front door. Because at this particular institution, they kept the front doors locked. So I went in there and told the officer, I said, hey, officer, you need to let him out, man. He need to go to the clinic. The officer messed with me a little bit, so he didn't really question. He said, is everything straight? I said, it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? I said, but we might get locked down for a minute, man. But, everything going to be straight. So he go to him. He said, are you all right? He was like, yeah. He looked at him. He said, you don't look all right. So the officer said, man, what's wrong with you? And he raised up his shirt and he showed him. And the officer looked around. He said, what happened? He said, man, I don't want to say. The officer understood. So the officer popped the door, let him out. And the officer stepped outside the door with him. And he called in the code. He said, look, I got one headed to the clinic. He's been stuck. So about that time, all the officers, I could see out the window, all the officers sitting in the captain's hut, you know what I'm saying? They be sitting out there at their post. They all ran toward the unit while he was walking towards them. And then they caught up with him, and then they turned and they walked him to the clinic. They walked to the clinic. Now, when he gets up to the clinic, now this is the part that, flipped it up on his head. When he gets up to the clinic, he tells them what happened. He tells them what happened. And he included me in it. He tells them that I'm the one that told him he need to go to the clinic, this, and that. And now they were like, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We're glad you did that. And he was trying to keep it on the low and all this and that. That's a good thing. But he also told on the individuals that stuck it. Now, here we go. Now, of course, we got locked down. And when they lock you down in a situation like that going on and they need to talk, they'll come to your door, bring you out of the cell. Now, everybody's watching. And when they bring you out the cell, you better not sit in that room too long and talk to them people because they feel like you're telling something. So they pulled me out. First, they pulled these Aryan dudes out, take them in there. They say, I ain't doing nothing, all this and that. They denied, of course. They came back out within seconds. They pulled me out. I'm trying to come up out. I said, look, man, I don't know nothing. I ain't done nothing, blah, 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 blah. They're trying to really thank me for what I did, this, and that. I said, man, I got to go. I don't want to be in here. I'm trying to come up out of there. But I stayed in there too long. And when I come out, I can see the faces. Everybody's faces in the window of that door, of the cell door. They looking at me. So now folks in them, they looking at me. So, bro, what you doing in there that long? I said, man, they tripping, man. Then I walked back in. The officer locked the door. About 2 hours later, they let us off lockdown because they had taken dude to the hospital. They done patched him up. Now they got him in the hole in the back pending an investigation, right? So they come and lock up the Aryan dudes. They don't lock me up. So now everybody's like, what was your role in this? By then, officers done start talking and all this and that. Baker did a good thing and all this and that, right? Just saying all this old kind of stuff. Now, keep in mind, I don't want them saying that. I didn't want them saying nothing. They can't even keep nothing on the low. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody in here, they talk too much. Even the police. So now, bruh and them, they starting to find out what happened. And they looking at it like, why you help the police? I said, man, I ain't really caring that he the police. I said, man, I was looking at it like, man, it's going to bring a lot of heat to the unit. We got a lot of things going on this weekend. I didn't want to get the unit locked down. Now, keep in mind, I'm the 9. I'm in charge. But they put me on the defense. I find myself explaining to my subordinates what really went down. And they looking at this as an opportunity to pop me upside my head, take my position away from me. Now, but keep in mind, I played the game a lot. I had a solid base of people, you know what I'm saying, within the org that wasn't going to let that happen. And I told them, I said, that's why I did that. So a lot of the brothers, they didn't agree with my decision. But they were like, man, we're not finna take bruh's spot because he did that. He helped the police. So I had these other brothers, they just kept pushing. Man, you riding with the police, man. Who cares if he'd bled out in the cell and all this and that? And I'm looking at them like, you stupid. If this man would have died, we'd be on lockdown for months. He's a former police officer. What do you think they would have done? They would have locked everybody down. Ain't no telling what they would have done. And everything got shook down. They would have tore this place up. They would have found everything we have and everything that's going on. But the part that I was having a hard time understanding is they didn't care. And I couldn't tell them, but I can say it now. I couldn't tell them. I just didn't want to see the man die. I didn't want to see him die. Didn't want to see that. And why should I be restricted from helping somebody because they the police? Don't get it twisted, y'all. Don't get it twisted. At that particular time, I didn't see the police. I saw another human being. Now, would he have seen that in me if the situation were reversed? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Should that matter? I'm asking you, should that matter? Should that matter? I don't know. But here's the thing. When he came back, they didn't let him, he's in the hole in the back. They didn't let him back on the compound. But he wrote me a letter. And he sent that letter to me through one of the guys, the rock men in the back. They came out on the compound. They brought the letter to me. I read the letter and he thanked me for saving his life. I didn't think that I saved his life. I just think that I talked him into saving his own life. But he thanked me for that. He thanked me for that. And I started to see things in a different way. And I wanted to tell this story because you never know what situation that you're going to be in life is going to change your perspective about what you might be doing with your life. Yeah. Remember that. Stay in tune with something that happens to you, because things that happen to you, they don't happen to you even if it looks like a coincidence, even if it looks like it's an accident, even if it looks like something that just happened, right? It's happening for a reason, and that reason is to make you a better version of yourself, help you realize to put in the work to become a better version of yourself. But if you're not paying attention to what it is, what's going on, and have the courage to pursue whatever it is, what's going on, you're not going to get the lesson. Remember that. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all. I've been trying to breathe underwater.